Hey everyone, welcome back to Mental Training Thursday. Happy to have you here always, whether it's in person or virtually after the fact. Today is going to be all about how to break up with chronic stress. This has been quite the year, so that chronicity factor is probably very real for you all right now. And then layered on with like the more immediate stressors of getting closer to the end of the semester and what have you. But before we kick off into that subject, we are going to answer a question from last week's topic, which was all about radical recovery routines.
So the question we were asked, if I do a body scan and everything feels tense, what do I do and how do I fix that?
I think that's a great question. So especially because if you become aware that there are all these points in your body that are feeling really overwhelmed or stressed or tense, that in and of itself can feel overwhelming. I think a lot of folks, when they do a body scan, might notice only one or two areas. But if you're feeling it kind of everywhere, then first and foremost, don't panic, because you did yourself a favor and you took the time to really check in and get some data points of what is going on for you. And that is always going to be helpful because it's really telling you, what do I need right now? So rather than thinking about how do I get rid of all of this, think about it more in the sense of how do I reduce this? How do I manage it? It might still be there, but how can I lessen it? And I think that's the challenge that we often find ourselves in. And I think that's also a lot of our like athletic mentality is, here's a problem, how do I fix it? And in a lot of instances, there might not be a one and done fix. And so trying to get out of that mindset of what's the absolute, and rather trying to find a mindset of how do I improve the challenges that are present that I've just given myself that information about by doing that body scan. So again, rather than trying to find complete body resolution and feeling 100% fine across your entire body, looking for ways to try and lessen it. So if you do that body scan, you find you're tense all over the place, does taking a warm shower help you relax and feel a little bit more settled? Maybe not 100%, but does that bring you down to 70%? That would be a very strategic and very helpful and impactful improvement, even though it's not a full 100%.
Thanks so much, Mac. Yeah, I love this question from the student athlete. And I think you nailed it. That's where my mind went around the athlete identity and needing to fix. I almost heard in that question, what's wrong with me? Because, I can't lower everything right now. And so I think that really fits nicely into our topic today, which is breaking up with chronic stress. I think all of our nervous systems have been on fire lately due to everything that we're really taking in our environment, in our country, and what we're taking on, just our daily goals in our lives. And so one of the things that we just wanted to introduce today is this idea of the two arrows. And so the two arrows comes from the Buddhist tradition, and I might butcher this, but essentially, if Mac and I, or Chris, Mac and I are out in the woods, let's say we're going for a hike, pleasant day, enjoying it, we're breaking up with chronic stress, we're really having a good time. And somebody might be, I don't know, out on the archery range hunting, and we all get hit with arrows right in our shoulder. And this is a serious ouch situation. There's pain here. And I think for many of us, that's what life throws us. There's a first arrow that is not totally in our control, just challenges that can show up in each day and each hour. And I think Chris and Mac, you may react to it in a way of like, gosh, I need to tend to this. This is painful. Let's go medical attention right now. For me, I might be really pissed off. Somebody was interrupting my hike. I might also, criticize myself. Why did I even think of going on a hike, trying to break up with chronic stress? Now I have an arrow here. And so these are the second arrows that we can kind of add in from the initial pain that shows up. So when I heard that question from that student athlete earlier, I think we add sometimes that second arrow, gosh, what's wrong with me? I can't fix this. And so we just want to give you a daily practice today to really kind of dissolve that second arrow that can show up and just bring some relaxation, some calmness, some grounding with that first arrow when it comes So if y'all are ready, I'm going to do this with you because, gosh, we all need it. We really just kind of give ourselves, our nervous system, a break here. And for me, I like to close my eyes for these practices. And that's an intentional choice as well. So for those of you that doesn't feel safe or comfortable, you can keep your eyes open or at a point kind of ahead of you in the room that you're at. And the basic kind of steps in this practice, we're going to connect with a form of breathing that really brings on a relaxation response, our parasympathetic nervous system. And then we're just going to see where we can get stuck, where that second arrow can come in and find ways just to dissolve it away. So to just ground ourselves in this moment, just doing from last time we had a training Thursday, do a quick body scan right now. Noticing any uptightness anywhere physically. We can hold tension in around the eyes, the jaw, even having our tongue on the roof of our mouth. Definitely in the shoulders, the upper back. Sometimes we brace in our abdominal area. We're clenching our fists. Seeing what areas that are just a little tense and just allowing a little softening. Kind of this intention of non-uptightness from the get-go. Really breaking away from that fight or flight that we may be stepping into too often than we want to. Now bringing your attention to your breath. And in this case, to bring on this relaxation response, this relaxed breathing, really centering the breath below the rib cage, kind of right behind our belly button. And there's a few ways to kind of get into this that can be helpful that we'll go through. First one being just to bring an image to your mind of a ball that's in your lower abdominal, that area of your diaphragm, below your rib cage, behind your belly button. And just noticing that ball expand on the inhale and deflate on the exhale. It can be helpful sometimes to give the ball a color that you associate with calm, with relaxation, with grounding, with ease. So I know for me that can be a dark blue color. And I'm just noticing again that ball expand on the inhale, deflate, letting go on the exhale. Sometimes it can be helpful even to place a hand right under our clavicle. And as we breathe, as we do this belly breathing, this low and slow breath, seeing if we're keeping our chest steady. And just shifting our attention to that expansion and deflation of the ball in our diaphragm. And for those of you that imagery might be tough, another way to do this is really to make sure our exhale is slightly longer than our inhale. So allowing yourself to kind of count internally, 2 counts on your inhale, 1, 2, and 3 counts on your exhale, 2, 3. In for 2, and out for 3. You may even notice while you do this, just a heaviness, a warming, a letting go. And as we sit here, just bringing to mind, if there's any thoughts, any feelings, any tension around any stress right now, and how you're reacting to it. And usually we can sense that with any contraction in the body. Just kind of seeing that second arrow, where it might land in your body if you're judging yourself. Why can't I fix this? What's wrong with me? I'm the only one that feels this way. Wherever that second arrow shows up, just see if you can breathe in through that deep part of your core. Just breathe into that space, softening and soothing that area of your body. Watching that second arrow dissolve at its own pace. And before we end, just acknowledging the intention here, gratitude for yourself, for this wish to break up with the chronic stress we may all be experiencing, and letting go of those second arrows that can keep us stuck. And just allowing yourself, giving yourself maybe 3 more full breaths. Seeing the ball expand and deflate. 2 counts in, 3 counts out. And whenever you're ready, if your eyes are closed, you can open them. And we can come back to our training conversation together.
Thank you so much, Bob, for leading us through that. And it was funny because before you mentioned the ball, I tend to be a visual person myself and use a lot of imagery. And one of the things that I had already started to do was to use a balloon that was expanding and contracting with my breath. And then you inserted that. So, you know, the other thing that I wanted to comment, there were 2 other quick things that I wanted to comment on, which was, I think it kind of echoes what we were talking about at the beginning of this training today about how, like, we might want, if there's something that we notice that's off or challenging for us, we want the absolute resolution. And when I think about breaking up with chronic stress, I think sometimes there can be that perception too of like, I have to have no stress, and that's not plausible or possible. Like, life will inherently have stressors that are present, but it's really about like those second arrows and can we remove those additional stressors that we might be putting on ourselves? And again, imagery wise, was thinking about with each breath, like that arrow was splintering and starting to break apart and have less structure. And a final thought about, giving our nervous system a break, there's a lot that demonstrates how your breathing and using that to refocus yourself and center yourself does have implications for your stress levels and your hormone levels and your heart rate level. And I have a smartwatch that I use. And so after the exercise, I checked my heart rate and I was like in a nice low 50. And when I'm working and when I'm talking, I'm usually in the like 70 to 80. So if you're ever curious about like, did I just get a break? Did I help break up or help splinter some of that chronic stress I'm feeling? You could always do an exercise like this and then check yourself and see the physical implications of what you're doing and how that impacts your body and your system, and that it really truly does have that impact. So as always, thanks for joining us. Next week, we're going to really talk about how resiliency is a team sport. If you have questions, send them along to Bob on his email at robert.deal, D-I-E-H-L @colorado.edu. And to close out, another Boulder Buffs quote, mental health, it's worth a day off. Go Buffs.